Got a couple injury updates here in a second, but just in no way, shape, or form can we play offensive football like that and try to win at a place like this. I did think our defense played as well as they could, considering the amount of lift that they had to do today. Forced the 7 negatives and a takeaway. Thought we had some moments in the kicking game, field position wise. We just did not have a type of an offensive performance that is ever going to be acceptable at the Minnesota Vikings organization, and that obviously starts with me. And it's not about any one particular player or position. It's a collective group thing right now where we just are not good enough and to overcome some of the things that we're doing, overcoming some injuries up front and overcoming some of the things that are happening. We've got to find a way to put the game plan together as simple as it needs to be, or as tight as it needs to be from a play count standpoint, just to get a little bit better execution and get some of the things that winning football looks like, and try to play our part offensively with the other two phases on our team. Ryan Kelly had a hip flexor. He did not return to the game when he came out. Aaron Jones aggravated his shoulder a little bit. He's going to be evaluated. Josh Metellus and Jonathan Gennard didn't finish the last drive, but no injury. Those guys had been dealing with some things, but they was not injury related. And Jordan Mason, you saw him go down there later in the game. He was evaluated and returned. So really, Kelly and Jones would be the names that we'll be evaluating here.
Kevin, as best as you can see today at least, why was the offense so poor?
Well, I think early on in the game, we had our struggles running the football to try to stay efficient. We had some screens and some kind of plays that kept us in manageable D&Ds, and then some plays where I thought early on Max was honestly maybe processing too quickly. There were some moments there where he was getting back to some things where we had some explosive chances for either Jordan on a backside in cut, catch and run, or even on some of the third downs where he just a little sped up like a normal young player can be in his first start, and we just never could really make that one or two or three in a row kind of play. And then when we did move it, we weren't able to sustain it long enough to get in the end zone. And then obviously the low red zone play there on fourth down, when totally flips on, getting the turnover we've been so desperately waiting for, and our defense does that. And then that sequence ends with them getting 7 points is losing football.
On that fourth down, what are you trying to get done there?
Yeah, it was a little over, thought we might have had a little bit better spot on the third down play where Addison caught the ball, and ends up being a little bit one plus, whatever it ended up being. We had struggled to run it up until that point, at the point of attack and things like that. So wanted to try to see if we can get Max out on the perimeter with a, kind of a run pass option, and they ended up kind of having a looping player kind of in his face right away. And, fourth down, he's trying to make a play and just ends up, being, obviously catastrophically bad, because, one of the reasons why you go for that in that moment is even if you don't get it, the field position is going to be on your side with the defense playing really well. So, got to call a better play there, got to, decide the best option for us to try to limit that ever being the outcome in that scenario, but also give us a chance to score, because we knew we'd have to score some points to win the game and to try to capture the momentum off that turnover with 7. What I thought was critical, critical sequence to try to have a chance to win it.
In general, with those third and short, fourth and short type plays where you guys do throw it as much as you do, what's the thought process?
Ben, we have run it. We have run it as much as we've. I know that's been a well documented thing, but I just got to call a better play there, and it's all going to be results based, and that was about as bad of a result as you can have on that sequence. And like I said, early on in the game, it was a struggle. I think we were under 10 yards. Close to our first 10 or so attempts, and just kind of trying to find that yard with a physical front. And, it felt like a chance to maybe have an opportunity to try to get the quarterback out on the edge, not drop back pass or anything in that situation, or see if we could have multiple options besides just seeing if we can hammer it up in there. Felt like it was the best option for us at the time, but obviously it was not a good option.
Going back to the second half of last week, does it feel like the offense is pressing right now?
It just feels like between some of these throws and potential throw and catches that we're just not getting, whether it's location, timing, rhythm, there's no question we're pressing. Guys want to make those plays. Guys want to make the throws. We've got to do a better job early on in games, where it's really not, there's no excuse to be made. We get a third and manageable when we're moving it, third and 3 or 4, whatever it was, and going to have a chance for Oliver on a play early on in the year we had success with, scored on a very similar D&D, a little tighter down against Cincinnati, but have the same coverage, same look, same everything, and we give up an immediate sack there that for a young quarterback can have an impact and maybe speed you up the next few sequences of drives, and it all is connected. But yeah, I know how hard and how hard our guys are preparing and trying, and we just can't quite seem to catch the rhythm of positive plays with all 11 guys executing right now, and that's guys maybe trying to do too much. Maybe we've got to try to limit what we're asking of the group as a whole, especially with some different guys stepping into the lineup, just to try to get some more consistency at the very least, to try to give ourselves a better chance.
Gentlemen, every road place is a hostile environment, but this was rather unique.
Yeah.
How do you think Max kind of held the enormity of trying to
do this
challenge?
I mean, he, pre-snap, he made a couple, I can think back to, there was a couple early down, they were sending some pressures, which you kind of come in here knowing between their defensive scheme and that Mike has, which does a great job with it, but also a young quarterback that they're going to try to activate some of those things. He got the play, made the adjustment to the play, slid right into the pressure, and just gets sped up a little bit, and Jordan's on kind of a backside read, which we knew would probably be the primary on that play, and he just gets sped up and throws it just a hair early, going to the right place, doing all the right things. Could fall in alignment with a young guy that we wanted to allow him to, function in our offense because he showed the ability to. But yeah, it's a tough ask, obviously, and I thought from a procedural standpoint, running the huddle and making some of the calls that he did, and we tried to take as much of that off his plate as possible. I thought he was functioning at a high level. It really, like I said, we'll go back and watch it and spend the time with him going through it, on a deep dive. But if anything, it was him playing quickly and processing. He was getting back to his checkdowns. He was getting to Aaron Jones on the backside of some progressions early on, just putting it in play and kind of checking a lot of boxes where hopefully you can get him settled in, and then he starts kind of finding that rhythm and timing to be, in alignment with the concept called when eligibles might be open.
Does he rather deal with that issue than the opposite end of that?
You're always, that's what I told him after the game is this is great experience for him. It won't get harder than going to Seattle for your first start against that defense. And he's such a competitor and wants to obviously come out here and lead this team to a win. But I told him that's great experience and an unbelievable learning op, knowing what it felt like, knowing how you were, seeing it, and maybe, even able to, as you get maybe more experience, which Max is going to play a long time in this league, you'll start to be able to, the game will slow down a little bit, even though he is what we believe to be a fast processor.
Kevin, is it just coaching to get guys to slow down when they're younger, or is it a matter of reps?
I think it's reps, and it's also, you think back on a couple of those plays, and they seem very much long ago when you see the score kind of get to where it is, and we don't end up scoring on the day. You forget about those plays, early on in the first or second quarter where, all those plays matter for a young quarterback, of very much like seeing the ball go through the net, and when you're going to the right guy and maybe it's just a click early, or you get moved off the spot with an NFL kind of pocket, and all those things can have an effect. just like the positive effect of, those plays being thrown and caught and maybe a catch and run, and we get our playmakers involved. And then I thought he made some nice plays too. TJ up the seam and making some nice check down throws on some play actions where we were trying to be a little bit more explosive today. And he was, we were moving the ball at times without a very consistent run game. We got it going a little bit later on in the game, but it was a tough ask and probably needed just a little bit more all 11, guys doing their job and playing with a little more physicality up front early to try to set the tone for how we wanted to play. And I thought, it took us a little bit too long to get some of those functioning early down plays to just stay efficient and try to, once again, I think we had a few too many 3rd and 10 pluses where whether it's a penalty or if it's a negative run, those are hard. Those are tough for us right now. And, we're not going to just dive into the world of, continuing to just throw the ball over and over again. We're going to try to see if we can manage it with some ball out plays, screen game, or trying to stack some runs to get back to manageable if we can.
Is JJ still in concussion?
He is as of right now, but that's we'll see how he does tomorrow. Our goal is he clears and he can have a good week of practice and have an opportunity to play next week.
And the last thing on Adam Thielen, was that a healthy scratch?
Yeah, it was coach. I'd just file it under a coach's decision, looking at where we were at some other positions around our roster. You're just trying to do what you think is best to win and make sure you've got some depth at some other spots where guys were dealing with some things. And that receiver position's one that has, stayed pretty remarkably healthy this year.
How close was Christian Darrisaw to being able to go today?
Yeah, I think it was close. It was just a combination of the ankle, some discomfort there, and then just kind of we're still in a world where his knee is something that he's working through every week. I think he's obviously such an important, impactful player to our offense that we're always going to try to get him out there. And CD wants to be out there. He just couldn't quite get there to play today. And having Donovan out as well just starts dipping into some things. Ryan Kelly eventually going out, and we had some guys step in there, and we'll take a look at it this week and hopefully get him back and hopefully get the best 5 we can to go back home and try to win a game this week.
All right, thanks everyone. Well, Max,